When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, what's going on, Boise State fans? BJ Rains here with you. Happy Tuesday. Tuesdays with Tust, always one of our favorite days of the week. So Jay Tust with us, a sports director over at KTVB. This is Bronco Nation News Live at bronconationnews.com. Whether you're watching us on the social media channels, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or listening to the audio podcast, we appreciate that as well. And Jay, it's Tuesday. You had, a day or two maybe to recover a little bit from the spring sport. You sleep for 2 days straight or what? How's it going, man?
No, but I got a good 8 hours last night, which I think when you're a parent, 8 hours is like the equivalent of 14 or 15 maybe. Man.
Yes. And it's crazy how that's become. You go to bed at midnight and you're like, okay, I get up at 8. Yeah, I'm going to be doing, and you're doing great. And you're like, what?
Yep. Yeah. So today I actually feel pretty good. I look a little tired, but I actually feel pretty good.
Hey, right off the bat, we'll get to our breaking news, Jay. We are sold out of the golf tournament. We heard folks heard that you're going to be putting on the driving exhibition on the driving range before the tournament started, and we sold out. So we've actually had 2 foursomes that have since come to me still wanting to play, and I got no room left. So maybe next year this becomes a 2-day event. Who knows? But we are completely sold out. So looking forward to that. Appreciate everybody that's bought their foursomes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Now it's only a week from Friday, so it's about 10 days away. And
I got to get to a driving range, man.
Yeah, John Mallory told me the same thing. So maybe you guys can get out there together.
John's playing in this?
He's
actually going to play?
John Mallory is playing in the tournament, yes.
Oh, my gosh. Sign me up to see that guy do anything athletic.
I think there was a team vote at KTIK, and Prater, JP, and Johnny are all playing. So,
all right.
Yep. Yeah.
Now I know why it's best ball or whatever.
It'll be worth the price of admission to see Johnny out there golfing for sure. Dayton saying congrats on the sellout. Appreciate that. Kurt, again, you're being banned. I don't know how your comments keep coming through about the Avalanche there. Yeah, that was a tough one last night. So at least I only have to worry about staying up late one more night. Tomorrow night this series will be over and it'll be done. But oh well. Jacob says he finally woke up early enough to watch the show. Let's go. Appreciate it, Jacob. Yeah, thanks, man. Hey, we'll give away some pizza today. Well, how about that, Jay? Everyone loves pizza. If you want a free pizza, West Side Pizza, you can use the promo code BNN25. You get 25% off your entire order. Help us out here, Bronco Nation News. Try them out. Use the promo code westsidepizza.com. It's BNN25, and you get 25% off your entire order at West Side Pizza. And we'll give away a free large pizza here to whoever has the best comment or question on today's show. So we got a good show today, Jay. We're going to talk to Justin Shults, the Boise State softball coach, at about 9:15, kind of wrap up their season. Ended in heartbreak, obviously not getting picked for the NCAA tournament. We saw San Diego State have a little success, get to the regional final, I believe, or whatever they called it the first weekend. They gave it a run and kind of proved maybe that, just would have liked to see what Boise State could have done if they could have got in, man.
Looking at some of the teams that got in, even like in Minnesota, that their only win in regionals came over a Prairie View A&M team that was 20-30 on the season. There's no way that you can convince me that Boise State's offense couldn't have hung with a lot of teams in regionals this year. There's no way. I mean, tip of the cap to San Diego State. This isn't. I'm not even trying to knock them. But Boise State's offense was better than them, and San Diego State put up a bunch of runs in regionals. I think that Boise State, even if they couldn't have advanced to super regionals, I think they could have made some noise at regionals.
Yeah, so that was super disappointing, and we'll catch up with Coach Shults here in about 10 minutes and get his take on the season and ultimately why they didn't get in and kind of where they go from here to kind of build on this and turn this into a stepping stone for next year. We're also talking about our top 25. We've reached number 14 here. Crazy to believe we're in the middle of our third week of our series. Yesterday, Dimitri Washington was number 15, and today, number 14, we're going Riley Smith, the tight end. For me, Jay, this is a spot that we, every year, and it's crazy. When I moved here in 2013, the tight end just every year is this just position that the fans love to talk about and always want more production from. And, we heard Kent Riddle talk a lot about it. The play, sometimes the quarterback just doesn't throw it to the tight end. Just because the tight ends aren't involved as much doesn't necessarily mean that they're not trying to throw them the ball or whatever. But for me, I think it's a big year for Riley Smith. I mean, the last 2 years, only 23 catches, 241 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And maybe I shouldn't say only. I mean, 23 catches isn't horrible, but that's in 2 seasons. That's in 19 games, I believe it is. And if you're the top tight end on this team this year, and you're on an offense that wants to improve. I mean, the offense had its lowest point production over a decade last year. I mean, the offense needs to be better, and I think Riley Smith needs to be part of that and be more involved.
I don't think that many people will argue with you about that. It's funny. I think that when it comes to the tight end position, we obviously get caught up in the easy stats to track too, which is catches and receiving yards and things like that. Like, we don't always necessarily factor in their impact in the ground game and all that stuff. But I would agree with you. Like, I mean, now's the time for Riley to maybe get a few more looks and to have his biggest and best year yet as a Bronco. The one thing about Riley is that he has a chance to even come back another year. Like, it'll say senior next to his name this season, but
which is
he
crazy.
could potentially utilize a COVID year and come back again. And for a guy like him, I mean, that could be particularly useful just because, he switched positions from quarterback to tight end, as a lot of people know, through, in the middle of his college career. So having an extra year of development for him could be big. But I mean, you look at his body, he now looks like a tight end. He does not look like a former quarterback at all anymore. I mean, he's 6'5", closing in on 230 or something like that these days. He's much more aggressive when it comes to blocking, all that stuff. But I think, yeah, you're not far off when you say, like, now's the time to make a greater impact maybe in the passing game too. And, if you look at the tight end distribution last year, BJ, Riley Smith had 8 catches, Kurt Raftel had 8 catches, and Tyneil Hopper had 7 catches. All of those guys had more receiving yards than Riley. And again, not necessarily a knock on Riley, but just how things played out. I know Tyneil had that big catch, obviously, against Colorado State. Coincidentally, Riley had a catch negated against Colorado State. But, we'll see if this is the year for him.
I just think about 2020, man. The first full year after he had switched, 15 catches, 155 yards, had the touchdown, even had 4 rushes for 36 yards. Really, I think it was the Air Force game where he kind of emerged and had a couple of big plays. And you kind of thought, okay, man, they've got an athletic guy here. They've got a guy that looks like he's a big-time contributor. And then for whatever reason last year in a full season goes down to 8 catches. And again, it's not all on Riley Smith. The ball has to be thrown his way. I'm by no means saying that Riley Smith this is all on him. I just feel like for a team that needs to have a better offense, and for a team that for he's their quote unquote starting tight end, I think that there's more in the tank there for him, and I think he needs to be in that 25, 30 catches. I mean, I don't know if that's possible, but for this team to do what they want to do, and again, I'll throw this in there. He's filming commercials, with Lithia Ford. He's got some other NIL deals. I mean, he's one of the faces of this team. He's one of the leaders of this team. He's a 4th year, veteran guy now. And I just think he's better than an 8-catch guy. And I put him at 14 on this list because I am banking on Riley Smith having a big year this year.
I think the tight end position is so interesting at Boise State because every single year it seems like there is this uproar about, man, we got to throw it to the tight ends more. And what that might be true, that I one way or the other, I don't know. But
I will say with Shakir being gone this year and Evans, I mean, the passing game as a whole is certainly down. Yeah,
there should be targets to go around this year, without a doubt. It's just interesting because we always talk about that, and like, when's the last time? Look at John Bates, for example, right? Like, John Bates is going to be in the NFL for a decade. Like I am fully confident of that. If that doesn't happen, like remember this down and you guys can blast me for it. But John Bates is a guy that's going to be in the NFL for a decade and have an awesome playing career. I don't know. I'm not saying he's ever going to be like an all-pro guy. Maybe he will. I don't know. But like he's just going to be a guy that can contribute and be so solid that people are going to want – the NFL teams are going to want him on their roster for the next decade to come. You look at his tenure at Boise State. Dude didn't catch a lot of touchdown passes. Dude didn't catch a lot of balls in general, really. And so
I think 1 year Riley Smith actually had better stats than him.
Exactly, in John's final year. So you wonder, if expectations need to be, change a little bit for that position outside of that football facility and how we judge and whatnot. I just think it's funny because that just seems like to be a common storyline every year is if the tight end doesn't have X amount of catches, man, why aren't we throwing them to more? I think the last time that maybe the appetite of targets to a tight end was actually, appeased was back when Jake Rowe was running routes. And Jake was awesome. One of the toughest dudes to ever suit up for Boise State, but he was more like that split out slot wide receiver type tight end than, John Bates, like 3-point stance type of, guy or what. I don't know. This is the way that I kind of evaluate it. But yeah, I do think the ability is there, as you said, BJ, is for Riley to be more of a factor in the passing game this year. Sometimes he can't control all of that. And one other thing I wanted to bring up too, we go back to 2020 when he had that, more impressive season than last year. Different offense. An offense that really did kind of utilize tight ends, try to move them around as chess pieces. And while they do some of that in this new offense, it's not quite like what it used to be.
Yeah, and I think this list is kind of projecting and what guys are going to do, and also just kind of looking at expectations and things like that. And again, it's not – you're right. It's the tight end position may be harder than any other in terms of what are they supposed to do. We don't know where the first option is on a pass or how many times it's supposed to go to the tight end and doesn't. And maybe he's targeted 2 times in a game, but he's supposed to be the primary target on 5 plays. We just don't know. But I just feel like for a fourth-year guy like him, he's obviously a leader, and I think when you lose Shakir, you lose some of these guys at receiver. I think he's a guy that is primed to kind of be that safety blanket for Hank Bachmeier, and I'm expecting his production to go up this year.
I do know, I do believe I know that a lot of this offense, is taking what you can get and staying ahead of the chains and just moving the ball, and then you get your completion, you get up to the line, and you go again, and like they want to push tempo at times, right? And Hank didn't throw downfield a ton last year. And for the amount of throws that he probably had within a 20-yard, within 20 yards of the line of scrimmage, I will say it was a little surprising that maybe a few more didn't land in the hands of a tight end. But if you look at that production group as a whole, it's not – I don't think it's terrible, because I think that there's been years where we've had tight ends at Boise State that – have had 20 to 25 catches, and then the next best tight end has like 6. So if you can bind them all up, maybe it averages out. I don't know. Maybe that's
and I think Rafdahl and Hopper are both guys that are going to contribute as well, and looking forward to see what they can do. So Riley Smith, number 14, you can read his article at BroncoNationNews.com. Quick thank you, Ridley's Family Market, ShopRidleys.com. 13 Idaho locations. They got the at-home shopping, the Skip app, all that great stuff. You can get more information at ShopRidleys.com. The Blue and Orange store as well. Whether you're in Boise, head on over to the Boise Town Square Mall right next to Pro Image there. The Blue and Orange store, all the Nike gear, all the new hats, jerseys. They got the new retro logoed polos and shirts in. And if you're not in Boise, you can check them out at theblueandorangestore.com. They're providing the first, second, and third place prizes, gift cards for the golf tournament next week. Looking forward to that. And that'll be out at Timberstone Golf Course. PlayTimberstone.com. The best greens in the valley. I'll be playing out there today, actually. Going to try to sneak in around this afternoon. So head on out, book your tee time, PlayTimberstone.com. And we appreciate their support of the show. And Jay, we were talking earlier in the show, softball NCAA tournament going on, and disappointing that didn't get a chance to see what the Broncos could do, but Coach Shults kind enough to join us here on the program to break down a historic season, Coach, and we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. How's it going?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We appreciate you coming on. And what we haven't had a chance, at least I haven't, to catch up with you. Since you guys didn't get picked for the tournament, and you had to watch teams that you played this year in the tournament. What's it been like the last couple of days and week, and just trying to process everything?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of emotions. I think frustration's one. You watch like Stanford going to super regionals, got an opportunity to play them and show how we did. Arizona going to supers. San Diego State goes to the finals of their regional. McNeese State, who we swept on the road, goes and absolutely destroys Notre Dame, and then goes to the finals of their region. So, I mean, it was frustrating to watch, but at the end of the day, it's still very encouraging to see what we did this year, and the type of season that we had was kind of a preview for hopefully what's to come in the future.
Was it just the UNLV series, or ultimately, what do you think kept you guys out?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the committee was going to find anything to keep us out. It was, as you watch, I think only 2 at-large bids went to a non-Power 5, which was Wichita State and USF, both really solid teams. So I think this was just the year of the Power 5s, unfortunately. And it's a little frustrating because I think we did show that we can compete with anybody. As a coaching staff and myself included, I got to do a better job scheduling in the future to make sure that we have more marquee matchups like the Stanfords, like the Arizonas, maybe even go into the Big Ten and play some teams over there, just to really solidify our resume so there isn't any doubt left because of maybe one bad weekend like that UNLV series.
Man, Justin, congrats. You made it 2 minutes into this interview, and we haven't even had to use the bleep button while talking about this subject. That's pretty impressive, man.
I appreciate it.
We used it on Jay earlier, so yeah.
Yeah, right. Same topic though, so I got your back there, Coach. When you look back, I mean, as you were watching, some of these teams play this week, I mean, like, what was going through your mind in the sense that, like, for me, I have no doubt in my mind that you could have hung offensively with some of these teams. I mean, you guys were a better offense than San Diego State, and we saw what they were able to do offensively in that Tempe regional. So when you were watching them, like, what was kind of going through your mind in those regards, and did you have like a reassurance that, damn, we could have competed with these teams?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was fun. Our staff sat down on Friday and we watched a lot of the games, and it was just fun to watch really, really good softball all over the country. I think we need to do a better job marketing ourselves earlier in the season to make sure that teams on the other side get to watch us. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think our offense would have hung. I think our pitching is very, very good. We got different looks, so depending on our matchups, we could have easily gone with one of the 3 that we used. And defensively, we're number 1 in the country right now with fielding percentages. Some of those teams made some errors this past weekend. So no, in all 3 facets of the game, I think we're very, very solid. At the end of the day, the selection committee doesn't get to see a whole lot of Mountain West softball. So when they're looking at numbers and the RPI, it leaves it to chance, and that's just on us. We got to do a better job to make sure we take the chance out of it.
Yeah, it's tough because I feel like sometimes with softball, for example, that almost the production and the stats have to come before everybody kind of wakes up. And you know what, Justin, honestly, I was guilty of it this year too. All of a sudden, Kelsey Lawler's hitting 3.7. You're like, okay, well, let's go down and talk to this gal because she's unreal at hitting. When it comes to this last weekend and stuff, and even the reaction since Selection Sunday, oftentimes there are people that maybe reach out to you and tell you that you were snubbed. Did you hear any type of chatter like that from other programs that, in their case, might have been happy you didn't get in?
Yeah, I mean, that was the hosed was the word that was used most in text messages, and you got it from all over, from college coaches to travel ball, just to friends in the softball world. Hose seemed to be the most consistent word that they used. But it's hard. I mean, like I said, I'm not here to bash the committee. It's just frustrating because we played really good softball this year, and watching some of the teams we played, it would have been fun to be a part of it. I mean, that's all you want. And if we don't perform, we don't perform, but it would have been fun to be a part of it. I thought our athletes earned that right.
I'm not asking you to identify anyone, Justin, but were any of those coaches potentially coaching in the NCAA championships?
Yeah, there was one that I definitely didn't think I would get a response from, but they reached out, and they were even surprised, and them giving that was a huge validation because they don't go out of their way very often to do that. So there was a few that like that. So it showed people were paying attention to Boise, and I think some people were probably hoping that we didn't end up in their regional as a 2 or a 3 seed.
Coach, with all that said, I mean, you just look at the history you made and tying the school record for wins, and your first year as a head coach. I don't think you could have, even in your master plan, drawn it up even any better with your highest of expectations. I'm sure the sting is still there and still wishing you were in, but maybe it hasn't hit you yet. But I'm sure it will in a week or two if you get a vacation or time to get away or on the golf course or something. But are you able to also kind of realize what you guys did and just how proud you are, I guess, of what you guys did this season?
Oh yeah, it's extremely, extremely exciting for what Boise State softball is going to be. Obviously, the coaches before us have put us in a really good spot, and then now our job is to continue to climb that ladder and make it even better than we found it. We're already in the transfer portal. We're already looking. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of vacation right now. It's how do we reload, replace people like Hannah Bailey, Sarah Johnson, Kelsey Lawler, Ali Seng, and E. Flores. That on paper, everyone's like, shoot, there's no way they can repeat, but it's not about replacing them. I've said this multiple times. It's about finding people to come in and help this team be just as good next year. And I think we're already on the right track with some of the people we're going to be bringing to campus soon.
And I'm sure Jay will ask more about the roster. He's the king of the roster. And but in terms of your schedule, you mentioned that earlier in the Big Ten and whoever else. I mean, is it when you're a first-year coach, it might be a little hard for some of those schools to want to agree to play you? And is it really going to help them if they beat you, that kind of thing? I mean, I know Leon Rice deals with the same thing, or he has in the past, of trying to get teams to come to Boise and play them because they just didn't see a benefit to it if they were to lose. And does a year like this make it easier for you to pick up the phone and call some of those ranked schools and stuff like that, where they see what you did and they see it'll be a quality game for them as well next season?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the hardest piece with softball, and this is where I think the committee and the RPI need to be adjusted slightly with what they're viewing, but we go to tournaments and really we commit to, say, like we're going to Texas A&M next year. Texas A&M could bring in whoever they like. So, yes, we're getting one quality opponent in Texas A&M, but if they bring in 3 teams that are all 200-plus RPI, it doesn't necessarily benefit us. So we're trying to do a much better job of actively reaching out, seeing who's committed to tournaments and making sure that everybody in that tournament is going to be in that top 100 RPI, if not even higher.
As we do look forward, Justin, how much more solid is, the ground that you'll walk on, I guess, moving into year 2 of the Justin Shults era? I mean, what Kelsey Hall can do. You're getting the younger Flores back. I mean, Abby Bumkraut she was Tony Gwynn at the dish over the last month of the season. How much more confidence do you have knowing that, you do have some pretty good pieces building around and you know what they're capable of as you move into year number 2?
Oh yeah, it's always nice to kind of, especially with looking at like the younger Flores and Hall, especially transfer, even Abby, not great statistics last year. So you're starting to kind of, okay, we think we know what they've got skill set wise, but to see them actually put it together is huge. For us, I think there's still some athletes on our roster that maybe slightly underachieved this year. And I think it's our goal as coaches to maximize their potential to fill some of those slots we talked about. But momentum's huge. I think with us going 40-10, we've had more people reach out to us than we've really probably reached out to people in the transfer portal. And that's because they want to be a part of something that they see is on the rise. And we got to keep this momentum, because once coaches get complacent or satisfied with what we did year 1, it could easily flip. And momentum is the key in all sports right now, especially with that transfer portal.
Do you think that your team next year will, even if you have to bring in new pieces, do you think it'll be similar to what you guys were this year? An offensively really talented team with pretty good pitching and an elite defense. Is that the key to success for a team that you coach?
Yes, absolutely. I think defensively, we're always going to be a team who protects the ball. Our job's to bring in some pitchers to help Taylor Cottle next year. We got some younger ones who didn't get a ton of opportunities this year. But if we can find the pitching piece to complement the ones we already have on roster, I would expect to see the exact same results next year. I think that's really, really important for us as defense. And then offensively, I'd like to run a little bit better. I think we use pretty much the same sign card that we had all year. Because we just basically sat back and hit doubles and home runs, which was fun. But we need to be able to be a little bit more versatile when you face somebody like Maggie Ballin and San Diego State and win those 1-run ball games.
We have a ton of comments coming in here, Coach. Jordan says, so proud of the wagon. Can't wait till next year. Perry loves the cap, by the way.
I appreciate it. I'm trying to find another one. I found it in the bookstore like the first day I was on campus, and if anyone knows where we can get more of these, I'd love to know, because these are sweet hats.
Rudy's already saying his 9-year-old granddaughter playing competitive softball went start submitting your NIL offers now. So I don't know what the recruitable athlete age starts at, Coach, but they're already coming. Like you said, they're coming to you now. You don't have to do anything. I want to know about just your vision when you took the job here, Coach, and what Jeremiah Dickey sold you on, and you came, I'm sure, and toured the facilities and the campus and all this, and and you look at what you did in year one, and now you have the plan and the hope for the indoor hitting facility and the lights and the scoreboard, the video board, and all this stuff. And I don't know how immediate that stuff is, but just the vision you had when you took this job, the first year you had, and where you are now moving forward. I mean, are you as confident, I would assume maybe even more confident and pleased that you took this job to where you think you can probably take this now?
Oh yeah, with JD, I think the biggest thing is he has unrealistic expectations, which is huge. I think that's what we have to have in this world. You can't sit back and just say, okay, well, this is what the ceiling is for us. You got to go and try to find new ceilings, and that's something that I really respect about him. So for the softball team, it's 40-10 may be the ceiling this year, but how do we get better? And it's not necessarily just record, because depending on the strength of schedule and all that, but our job is to leave no doubt next year. I think with everybody, whether the committee, whether our conference, whatever it may be, it's leave no doubt. And I think that's going to allow us to continue to raise the ceiling and raise the bar here at Boise State.
People are asking about the recruiting aspect, Coach, whether it be, is transfer portal now is that the way, is that easier than the high school kid and developing them, and you can just plug and play right now with a player that you've seen proven at the Division I level, or do it? And someone asked about recruiting in the Valley in terms of the softball talent here as well at the high school level. How would you look at both those aspects?
Yeah, we're looking for the best athletes available. Obviously, in a perfect world, we'd love to have all freshmen come in and be with the program for 4 years and develop. But I think it's hard nowadays. I think if you don't get the playing time right away, or you're in a role that you maybe don't like, it's hard to keep people for 4 years, especially when you have upperclassmen. So our job as coaches is to adapt or die. Transfer portal is a lot more prevalent, so we'll always be in the transfer portal adding pieces. And then for our freshmen coming in, we got a really talented class. Their job's to come in and compete. Don't worry about who's on the roster with you. Go earn your spot, and we're going to put the best 9 to 10 people on the field every day.
I know it's probably a little early to tell, but what do you think a girl like Sydney Groves can do for you guys next year? I mean, got to see her in action a few times for Eagle High School. It's funny, Coach. Opponents did not like pitching to her this year. If the game was even remotely in balance, it didn't matter if there's runners on second, third, whatever. They would often just issue that free pass down to first base for her. But what have you seen out of her, and what do you think she can do for you next year?
Oh, yeah, I love that kid. I was texting with her before the state championships, and we were talking, and I think she fits right in with Jeremiah and myself, as she has unrealistic expectations too. She was talking about her goal at the beginning of the year is to hit over 700, which is awesome. We want to push that. And then she said the most proud thing she had this year was how many times she was intentionally walked. It showed that she at the plate was willing to pass the bat to her teammates. So for her, it's to come in, and I don't know what the future holds for her. She could start day one. She may have to earn her spot and be a role player, but that's the type of athlete we want, is somebody coming in hungry with unrealistic expectations.
Going back to Jay's junior college days, Coach, he knows all about the intentional walks, when he's
totally. Yeah. And the one thing that stood out about City, she's competitive too. Like, you could tell, like, it lit a fire under her when she didn't get the bat, and they would, pass her down to first base and not, just deal with the next batter. Coach, I was kind of nerding out. I'm not gonna lie, you got me nerding out over softball. I watched a lot of it this weekend. I'm kind of curious, why do you think Maggie Ballot kind of struggled a little bit? I mean, was the offense that much better? Because she was unreal in Mountain West this year, and it just kind of gave me a little perspective of how elite it is once you get to that level.
Yeah, for sure. I think right when we saw them going to Arizona State, we kind of, as a staff, said it's not an ideal place for her to have to go and pitch. The ball flies a little bit there with the humidity and stuff, or just the heat and the sweat and stuff. I don't think it was great for her spin. She's still a heck of a pitcher. There's a reason she was pitcher of the year in our conference. So I thought the matchup was a little bit weaker. Maybe if she goes somewhere to like maybe a Washington, where the ball, you have to hit the ball to carry it out of the yard, could have been a better matchup for her. And I mean, ASU has a ton of experience with her. One of their coaches coached her at Oregon. So I think there were a few things that got in her way, but once again, heck of a pitcher, and I'm glad she's not in our conference anymore.
Yeah, considering Hannah Bailey's more drop ball pitcher, do you think she would have fared a little bit better in like an Arizona regional?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you watched the San Diego State staff kind of go more to that drop ball pitcher that they had, who was their number 2 or number 3 all year, but they used her a lot more just to keep the ball in the park and allow their defense to work. So good adjustments by them.
Justin, I'm trying to pay attention, man. I'm trying to pay attention.
I appreciate that. I know you are our biggest advocate when it came to the stats, and we got a big-time softball podcast to throw a snarky remark at you because somebody tweeted about Boise State softball, and he said,
"Ooh, nice.
Oh yeah, we saw the stats."
I thought you were paying him by the tweet on Selection Sunday, Coach. I wasn't sure.
I'm sure I'll be able to repay him at the golf tournament here in a few weeks.
He's already challenged you to a long drive competition, I believe.
I'm going to lose that one for sure. I got too much slice on my drive.
Well, final thing, Coach, just to kind of sum this up, and we appreciate your time. What is your takeaway from the season, your message to Bronco Nation? Just it was a historic year. It didn't end the way you wanted, but it sounds like you're very excited about the future. And it's, like I said, once it kind of wears off the disappointment of not getting in, it sounds like I think that you're pretty pumped up about where this program can go.
Oh yeah, I'm extremely excited for the student athletes. First and foremost, they were a big part of this, buying into the new culture with the coaching staff, and then for them to go and perform like they did pretty much every single weekend of the year, and the consistency that they showed was huge. And then to Bronco Nation, just keep showing up. I think what they did this year was awesome for us, setting records at DLP. And we want to make this a softball town. I know it's football, basketball, but we've got a lot of good sports here at Boise State, and I want the fans to keep showing up and keep supporting our athletes.
Well, we appreciate it, Coach. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been fun to watch the team, and looking forward to the success. And yeah, we'll see you next Friday out at Timberstone.
Right on. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Justin, real quick, relax. Yeah. Go get some go at least get a little guacamole over at Barbacoa, okay, man? If you can't get on a golf course, go relax, get away from it a little bit, all right?
We'll try. Here 4 to 6 is the best time to be at Barbacoa, so I might have to swing by.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Have a good one.
Yep, there he is, Justin Shults, the softball coach over at Boise State. And Jay, good dude. Been fun to get to know him this year, first year. And man, I you see, like the former coach Cindy Ball now taking UCF to the, they've had some, the program's continued to build, and she had got him in the tournament, and it looks like Justin's very close to doing the same thing. 40 wins, program record, and man, you give this guy lights and an indoor hitting facility and turf and some of the things they're talking about. I think that so far Jeremiah Dickey's made some great hires, and that appears to be one of them.
I think that when we look at those master plans for an athlete's village, it's so easy to get consumed by football and basketball and their plans for those, because those are the main events on campus. I mean, those have the biggest draws when it comes to attendance. But as you just said, if they can get a few things over at the softball facility that would help them out, I mean, man, namely an indoor hitting facility on campus. I mean, they barely are able to host home games in the first half of the season, right?
Well, they only played 12 all year, 12 out of 50.
Yeah, and that number will go up next year. I mean, Justin told me that without a doubt that number is going to go up next year. Oftentimes when they have to go to the indoor, they're fighting to get into the cabin and to figure that out. But to have one just right over there, a 10, 15-yard walk from the outdoor cages would be huge for them. And not gonna lie, their headquarters are a little cramped over there. So if they get a little more space, a little more breathing room, I guess I'm taking the long way to explain what could be a pretty succinct answer. The ceiling for that program is much higher than what it is today, and if they can get a few more of those things, that could be a program that could entice a guy like Justin Shults to hang around in Boise for a decade or two, because he's very talented. So if they can get some of those things, they might be able to build something pretty special.
Nope, no doubt about it. And you see what the facilities do to a football program, what they can do to a basketball program. It's the same for softball. So yeah. Thanks for Justin Shults for joining us. Appreciate that. And we got some football questions. We'll get to these some other day. CJ Tiller questions. Sorry, folks, we're out of time. We're not really talking football recruiting right now, but Randy did say thank you for covering other sports. Softball team got robbed. What was the word Coach used? Hosed? That's a good word. Yeah. They said they got hosed. But no, the baseball team is not coming back anytime soon. Sorry about that. I had 2 people ask about that, but there it is. Perry's wondering too. Baseball, that will go down as a sad
People
time.
DJ, there's still excitement. People are still talking about it.
Well, you just see what all those guys are doing, man. What's his name? Hitting cleanup for Missouri, right? I mean, all those. There's some guys doing some. They had some players on that team, man.
Dude, Joe York's hitting like 352. Torrin Montgomery was like top 10 in the SEC in batting average. Man.
Well, Boise Hawks are starting. They got a game today, I believe, or they're starting this week. So good luck to Gary Van Tol and the Boise Hawks. Jay, appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you Friday. We'll be at number 11 on Friday, and then a week from Friday, we'll see you at Timberstone. So appreciate it, man. Have a good rest of your day. There he is. Yep. Good night, Jay Tust. It's been a long day for Jay. He's wishing us a good night already. Yeah, sometimes we wish we could just fast forward to the evening, but appreciate John Mallory for commenting there. Appreciate it, John. He just can't get enough of Bronco Nation News shows. So and he's calling out Tust there for have a good night. Yes. So appreciate everybody for checking us out today. Appreciate Coach Shults for coming on. Appreciate Craig Lawson, for helping set that up. And Riley Smith, number 14. You can check out his article at BroncoNationNews.com. And again, congratulations on a heck of a season to the softball team. So we'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m., continue our series with number 13. And then Thursday with Mike Prater and I will have our special guest, number 12, join us live. So looking forward to that. And again, thank you to all of you. We are sold out. The Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament has sold out. We really appreciate it. It's going to be a fun time a week from Friday out at Timberstone. And looking forward to seeing everybody out there, hoping for some good weather. And it's going to be a great time to support some local charities, some good causes, and have a good time out on the course at Timberstone. So thanks again for everybody for checking out the show. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bronco Nation News and BroncoNationNews.com.
At ICCU, to make a difference, it takes just one connection. A friendly face, an open ear, a helping hand. And then something amazing happens. We find out that we're better together. This is what Idaho Central does in our communities every day. We help our members with the small things and big dreams. This is what believing in you is all about. Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.